Hi guys, Joe here. Today we're going to be talking about my new updated Sword Soul deck profile. Sword Soul is actually in a pretty interesting spot right now, given that Kashtira is hidden to the ground. Arias Art was one of the biggest weaknesses to Sword Soul, given the fact that you weren't able to use your tennies as effectively, obviously, as well as just playing all the book cards, which are pretty good against the Sword Soul deck overall. Anyways, with that deck being out of the picture, it has a pretty good matchup into stuff like Purely, as well as a decent matchup into the Unchained deck. Yeah, let's get into it. So to start off for the main deck, pretty standard stuff. 3 Longyong, 3 Moye, 2 Taya, 3 Ecclesia. These are all extremely standard. And then for the tennies, 3 Ashina, 3 Vishuddha, 3 Adhara, and a Shathana. The reason we're playing these is maxing out on this is still super powerful, as well as cards like Veiler being in the format, making something like Chaofeng is super good to protect our level 4 monsters to make sure that they resolve. So you want to be able to maximize your chances of getting to a Chaofeng line plus having a way to make a level 8 synchro after that. And the Shathana is for the circle, which we play in order to dodge stuff like Veiler and Imperm. So nothing too crazy with those. Next, just for the hand traps, 3 Ash, the only hand trap I play. I don't play Imperm, I don't play Veiler. I think Ash is just overall pretty solid card. And then I play 3 Droplet. Droplet is pretty good in this deck, especially if they have a way to negate the Boxia. You can just chain Droplets on the Boxia's cost, and it spins away the cards. Plus, it's going to negate something, so you get a whole lot of value out of that. And then just a bunch of power spells. So the 2 Desires, 3 Thrust, and a Talents. So a couple things you can do with Thrust, obviously, search something like Talents or Desires if you want to draw cards, or if you've already gone through your Talents for some instance. But you can also search cards like Vessel, Emergence, and Blackout. So these are all really powerful normal spells in the deck that help you extend or just as another interruption. Lastly, we have the 2 circles I talked about earlier. So 40 card main deck. But yeah, Thrust allows you to just get to some of the best cards in your deck as quickly as possible, so you can play through things. I'll go over the combo with Vessel at the very end of the video, just to show you how this works in terms of playing through something like Nib. If you just get nibbed for everything, you can Thrust for Vessel and play through it pretty well. But yeah, onto the extra deck here. Nothing too crazy. The Shaman, 3 Monk. I'm still playing Denglong because he's a decent extender. But I will say this card might be cuttable for something like a Light Charmer, if that ever came up, or an Earth Charmer for something like Fenrir. But other than that, I feel like these cards are pretty standard. And then for the 10s, just a standard 3. I don't play Saiken Punisher. I don't think that card's very good in this deck. It hasn't been for quite a while, so just sticking with these guys. And then Chaofeng, 2 Boxia, Draco Berserker, 2 Shishao, and the Yazi. This card's super underrated right now. A lot of stuff targets in the format, so not being able to have your stuff targeted is super powerful. And then obviously, like, Boxia spinning away stuff against like the Unchained deck is super important, because all their stuff triggers if it gets destroyed. And then lastly, moving on to the side deck, 3 Droll and 3 Shifter for the hand traps. I feel like Shifter is kind of an interesting spot, right? Obviously, you want to maximize using your tennies to get as much value as possible. So you could play something like a Bestial. So you could play like 1 Magnemite and 2 Druiswurm. You could even play a Destrudo if you wanted to, because Destrudo is searchable off Mag, and then you can go Destrudo, target Magnemite, and then you can make Yazi, and then Yazi will just summon Taya from your deck. So it's like the full Sword Soul combo just like that. So that might be something, if you're interested in playing, might be better against some decks. Though Shifter is like such an all-encompassing card that it can be super powerful and you just win the next turn. So it's kind of up to you. But this is what I've been testing recently. And then obviously Droll is for some decks that you have like a less than ideal matchup against. Flunder can be kind of a toss-up sometimes. So having Droll, especially if you're going second against Flunder, the trap like sets your whole board. It can be really tough to play. So being able to stop them from getting that far is super important. Speaking of sides for Flunder, we have Cosmic. Cosmic's obviously good against the chain deck, good against Flunder hitting the trap or the map, something like that. And then we have some going first cards. So 2 anti-spell, a barrier, and a different dimension ground. The reason we're playing one of these is because of Thrust. Being able to just set them from our deck is super strong. And anti-spell because I wanted 2 more going first cards to put into my deck when I decided to go first. Something you could do, and something I haven't tested but thought about, is like cutting both of these and just playing a second of each and then playing like a trap trick. So you essentially have 3 copies of each card, so barrier and different dimension ground. Different dimension ground, super good against tier. It essentially just works as shifter, which is a trap card, and it's only for 1 turn, not for 2 turns. Obviously barrier is a solid card overall. And lastly, we just have 3 more thrust targets, so Duster, Herald of the Abyss for the purely deck, and Evenly Matched, just for trap decks and stuff like that. Though you do have a pretty good matchup against those going into it. Evenly can be super strong, just overall. So yeah, 15 card side deck, nothing too crazy, but I would like to get into the combo